Yeah. This week has been slow, but I feel like I've been in a very, I mean, life goes in waves. Life goes in these like retrospective waves. And I'm trying to get back to like what what is my legacy? What do I want to leave behind? What is the message that I want to leave here?
Mm.
Right? Or just and what's my purpose? Really, I was really just trying not to say purpose because it's so overused, I think.
You think you
Um,
need a purpose? Is that what you're
no, I
saying?
really that's what I'm exact. That's a great question because I think no.
Mm.
I think that
You want a purpose. A lot of
and
people want a purpose.
I
I
think our
think
purpose
it's pretty
change.
cool.
I think our purpose changes. It
Mm.
doesn't have to just be one.
Mm.
But there's just so much. As much as people, especially we live in a great time now where people are starting to recognize that you don't have to sort of confine or conform to all these social norms. But regardless of that, there's still such a strong stigma behind um, certain things that you as a child expect to have when you're at a certain age. Like a family, kids, a home, all these things that you just feel like you don't want to I don't want to say failure because it's a little I think we all recognize the differences between what being an adult is today as opposed to maybe 50 years ago, but it's
Oh, it's changed, you mean?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
there was a lot more I mean, I can't say I don't know. There's just certain things today that are harder. Like owning property, owning property, and then
Oh,
also
in California, for sure.
consistency in the job market. I mean, there were always in the 50 years ago, jobs were consistent. You would get a job and you would have it for your life. I don't necessarily think that's the best way to go. I don't think that you should do that.
Mm.
Because I do think that people get complacent and people start to really hate their lives at a certain point, especially if they've picked a job or a profession that they're not into, but get stuck in due to other responsibilities. So let's say, like, if you have a family, you obviously can't leave your job at that point, or if it gives you health care and whatever those things are.
Right.
Nowadays, no job. Almost like very rarely does a job give you at least good healthcare that is useful, that you don't have to struggle to get approved and you kind of go around and around. But um, that just actually made me think like with your job, you probably have great healthcare.
I'm covered healthcare. CA.
Yeah.
It's the regular. What do you mean? It's just the regular
Can
healthcare.
you go like out? Can you go to anybody, or you have to?
That's covered California. It's the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay. So
It's
you
not.
do have great because I love Covered
You can
California.
get that right.
Yes, I
Yeah,
have it,
yeah.
and I love
That's,
it. But
I don't. I feel like I pay way too much. I went to the emergency and I had to pay out of pocket way. It's ridiculous. Like
so then I have
what's the purpose?
Medi-Cal. I have better
Maybe,
than
yeah,
that.
maybe. It's terrible. I
Right.
don't even. I don't. If I will go to the emergency if I'm like
Not.
really bleeding out and
Well,
I
that's just
can't
like
make it to the next
us.
day.
Yeah,
Like,
that's Americans. So I don't know. So you asked me, what have I been doing? I think trying in that like in those moments of solitude and just like stillness to not judge myself so much because it's impossible. It's really hard not to just fall into a you're worthless. The word like your life has gone nowhere and all that stuff. Um
yeah, you can never. I mean, looking at it negative never helps.
no, but
I
it's
think
yeah.
I think that's life. I mean, depends on what kind of person you are. Some people may like doing that, but I don't see
Some
the
people
purpose.
what?
Like dwelling in the negative, or my life is
Woe is me.
bad,
Yeah, and I'm not
or
that
whatever the
person.
case is.
Because you're right. There's nothing in that.
Right.
There's no
You're not gonna.
comfort.
It's not gonna
There's
help
no
you.
yeah.
Nothing.
There's no
Is
way
it
out.
motivation? Like, oh, I'm motivated now. When you
Yeah.
wake up, I don't know.
So I've just been trying to
Maybe.
find that thing that's going to motivate me out of this chapter because I've gone through it already in my life, and I remember watching my father like rebuild it. I watched my dad rebuild himself at least 3 times in our life. And I'm talking like pretty much lost everything. Although we still had our home and he still had a job. So even at like 11 years old, I remember thinking to myself, yeah, there's this one time where he like lost all our money. And I just remember thinking to myself, and I said to him, because he was so down, that like, we'll be fine. Like I knew even at that age, regardless, we could just like get rid of this house and probably like move into some, we're not going to be, um, I don't know, out on the street, or there are options. And and that's just being able to kind of like look at what you do have. I've always kind of been that person to be like, as long as you have the people that you care about around you and all that.
Sure.
And I do feel really lucky with that. Like I have such a good family. I've known friends who have families that are just combative with each other, that steal from each other, that they couldn't leave their backpack down in the kitchen room and leave because someone might steal money out of it.
Really? Damn.
Yes, yeah, I've known friends like that, and I remember just hearing those stories and realizing I already knew I felt lucky, but we're just realizing like how lucky I am with that. And I mean, other people just don't have a family, right? They're not there. Yeah, at this point, I really don't know where I want to go. Like what direction. I've always had a,
I don't think it's, yeah, I think everybody goes through that, and I don't think it stops. Like you said, it keeps changing, and you could probably go change. I mean, I think it's good to keep changing if you're just stuck on one thing and it's kind of boring. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, there's certain things you have to do. Just like you said, living in California, you have to pay the bills. So
Right.
you have to do something at least to do that. But other than that, yeah,
But
keep
I don't
searching for new stuff.
want to be like an old lady. Okay, so this is really personal, but I don't want to end up. So I've had family members who recently passed, and they just weren't taken care of, and it wasn't like there's certain situations where if you, oh my God, I'll just say it. My aunt, I guess, like passed out or something in the bathroom, and like I don't know if she had a stroke or there was something that happened medically with her. She was naked on the floor, and the paramedics came in and like took her out. She was completely naked. I think there's like a Sex and the City episode about this also with Miranda, where she's like naked and has to have somebody help her because she's pulled her back, and like she has to call somebody to come pick her up like on the bathroom floor. And so this basically happened to my aunt, where like she's literally being taken out on a stretcher naked, and they didn't even cover her up. They just, in front of her neighbors, just wheeled her out into an ambulance, totally naked. You just lose your dignity at a certain extent when you don't have, I don't know, advocates around you. And so there are certain things that I think about in terms of future, like, I don't know. It just seems.
Well, yeah, at that point,
like,
who knows what's going to happen.
Especially with healthcare, we don't take care of our elderly here.
Well,
and
that makes me just want to, I got to make money. If I make money, I can at least like pay for that not to happen, I guess.
That's right. Yes, so that's my point.
You got to have your money up. So,
but now there's like wealthy people that, just die lonely and miserable too. So I took it to a really dark place. We can totally cut this out. You asked me though, like what I've been going through. It's just, I'm getting to a point now where I really need to make a decision, and all my skill set. Like I really want to do something totally different. I don't want to work in that same industry over and over again and keep doing that same grind. I want to switch gears, but it's really hard when all of your talent and skills, let's say on paper, read a certain way, because that's where you get the calls from. That's where obviously people are going to be interested in you, and you sort of. I mean, I know my niche.
Yeah. No. Well. Yeah. No. It's hard out there. Like we're in California. It takes a lot of money to survive, so you need a really good job too. So, I mean, we could win the lotto.
Yeah, that Powerball, man. I don't know if anyone won it yet. Did you see that?
No, it haven't. It says 1.6 now, so we can play and we may win.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, no one won?
Nope. What would you do if you won $1.6 million? If after taxes, it'll be
1.6 million? You mean
billion.
billion. Yeah,
Billion.
yeah. I was like, million, that's like nothing. You can barely buy a house in California for
Right.
that.
What would you do if you won?
Um,
What's the first thing you would do? Right when you won, like the money's in your account.
first
Well, actually, no. Let's start from you got the ticket and you see it matches up with the winning numbers. What would you think? What would you do right then? Like,
make the phone call.
So-
Oh, no. What I would first do, and I'd probably do this, well, no, probably once I won, because I wouldn't even think I would ever win. Find out what the difference is between, because there's that big question of, do you take the money now or do you do the overtime? There's the extended option or whatever where you can do accrued overtime.
Really
And so I would just like do all my due diligence in terms of what that means, longevity, because I know you get more money if you take it over time, but how much money do you get immediately? You know, all of those things.
You would take it, right? You would take the whole thing.
I always thought no, because I feel like that's what everyone does, and it's not the smart thing to do. However, we're all here for a short period of time, and I don't even have children to like set up a legacy for. But the whole point is, I was listening to something at I don't know, sometime in my life where they were really explaining how it's kind of the quick man, the like, you know, not so savvy person who would pick the money right away, just the immediate money, as opposed to the person who picks the overtime, because overtime is just like, it's almost, you don't pay as much taxes, you get so much more money, but you have to wait. You know, it doesn't come all at once.
Yeah. Well,
so I would really want to wait. That's what I would do. I would just like deep dive research. What are the pros and cons of each? And where am I?
Okay, so you pretty much,
which I should probably just do, because obviously I'm gonna win at some point. No, I don't buy a lot of tickets.
I did this last one, but so pretty much you think you probably don't have nothing to do with the money. You don't know how to flip it. You don't.
I would buy property immediately. That's the first thing I would do.
But if you get all the money at once, you could do way more than getting it in lump
I don't know.
sums.
I don't know what the lump sum is they give you up front. So they do give you a lump sum up front, and then there's like you get payouts over time, which, you know, a lot of people end up going insane with too much money in their pocket and burning it, and you know, got hookers and cocaine, and then end up getting murdered or killing themselves. So, you know, maybe that longevity investment, depending on how much they give you up front, is a better option.
I'll be
It depends on what those stipulations are, you know?
I want it all at once.
I mean, $1 billion, they're not going to give you 250,000 in your first. They're going to give you a good. If it's $1 billion Powerball that you win, you're going to get like a few million up front, even with the extended, I would assume.
Well,
otherwise they can't pay you out over, you know, even anyone's lifetime.
Also, I think they, you know, it's the option of like somebody killing you before, just to make sure you don't get it. I don't know. I just always had that.
Yeah, but people kill you just to get it because you have it also.
Yeah,
so,
I'm saying like the government, they're like, no, well, yeah, it's too much money we'll give out right now. Let's take them out. Unless you have a will or something.
Yeah. Of course, I'd immediately write the will.
Okay,
yes,
so that's one of the things you would have to do.
Put everything in a trust.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would do.
Yeah, I'd cover So they wouldn't be able to take it.
Okay, now what would you do after you have the money in your bank account? You have at least like
property.
200 million.
Yeah, I'd look at those like multi-units. There's a lot of them in California.
No. Right when it's in your account, boom, that day. You're not rich yet. You don't even think. I mean, you may be thinking about those moves, but aren't you gonna buy like a house, get a new car?
I just said that property.
No, for you. What's the first thing?
Yeah, I'd start looking at houses.
Well, it's gonna take a while for you to get the house. So aren't you gonna buy things in between that car and everything like that? You know, like.
I don't have anything in mind. I don't.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you okay? Well. If you thought about it, I'm sure you would.
I immediately started thinking like designer clothes, but I don't care. I don't give a shit.
You would probably the best. I would get the best car I could imagine, most expensive car. That
but you're a guy, and I've never been a car person.
But you have to drive.
I'm a New Yorker.
You're gonna drive a. You're gonna drive.
Sure. I have a Camry, and I freaking love it.
You're gonna drive a Camry now with millions of dollars in the bank. What are you gonna do?
Probably because it's the most unsuspecting. You don't want to be a target, especially in LA right now.
Right.
Did you see the guy who was just targeted because he had a Tesla?
Right.
There was a guy that was just robbed because he had a Tesla. You didn't see that video? Oh my God.
No, I'm sure.
So
Yeah.
literally this guy parks his Tesla, he's getting out of the car, and this car just rolls up. And this is like in Hollywood or West Hollywood. The guy rolls up, draws the gun, and this guy with the Tesla fights back, runs away, and then as the burglars are driving away, they run into him and he gets shot up, and it's dramatic. This shit though happens like every day right now. So no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Okay, well, probably smart. Yeah, I would definitely keep it secret that I won. Like I know they give you an option, like
yes,
what your name to be announced. I would definitely not let them.
I don't know what the benefit is to telling your name.
Right, you just want to be on TV or something.
Yeah, like that's
write a book
real.
After.
Yeah, a real amateur move.
Yeah,
collecting your check.
No, people get killed for flashing all the time. Matter of fact, one of the topics I was going to talk about tonight was just the. I don't know if you heard about Takeoff, one of the Migos getting murdered.
I watched all the videos.
Right. So,
I saw all the.
Yeah.
I'm a sicko. Like
So do you know?
I sent it to you, didn't I?
I'm not sure. No. Do you know how many rappers have got killed? Like I don't know when since, but I mean, just you can look it up in a dictionary, and it's a ridiculous number. Let me see if I can ask you. Oh, here you go. Because I was going to ask you as a white girl from Los Angeles.
Hey, I'm from New York.
Just your opinion. Okay, here we go. List of murdered hip hop musicians. Okay, this is not even all of them because it's like a lot of.
And this isn't this is murdered.
Murder. So all the deaths is shooting.
Is it in sequence? Is it started a certain year?
Let's see, 87.
Okay.
It starts from 87, so it's probably more back then. But 87 is really okay. So from 87, you see the list. Like
how many?
It's look at
it doesn't tell you. Is this Wikipedia?
This is Wikipedia.
Shit.
I'm sure it's
Wikipedia has a list.
Right.
Well, that's at least 100, right?
Yeah, over 100, and then. Like I said, there's people that's not on here that wasn't really big.
What's the first 5? Read the first 5.
So you have Scott LaRock, New York City, Paul C, New York City, Danny D. Boy Rodriguez. We the names, Tupac, of course.
When was that?
And that was 96. Notorious B.I.G. 97, Fat Pat 98, Big L 99.
So who's the person that started off? Because usually like once it happens.
So 87, we got 87. This is 87 is Scott LaRock. So that's the first one they have.
Do you know what he's saying?
Hip hop disc jockey and music promoter for the Bronx. So, oh wow, yeah, look at that production. So it's just a shooting though. So I guess guns is a big part of 87, but they've been around. But it goes on, and it's just happening more and more.
Did they pick up on there?
Yeah, he's right here at the end. They put him on the end already.
Wow. That was
yeah. So what do you think causes that? And they said in every genre, there's a lot of musicians that's being killed by a gun, but not.
Well, there is. So probably shouldn't be coming from me. This is not going to be
no. That's what I'm saying.
Sentiment, but it's true. Where there's that like internal competition between ethnicities individually, right? So it's like I hate it. I hate that there isn't that we can just be happy for people and not. Well, honestly, this has nothing to do with ethnicity. It's a human issue. It's in our DNA. It's the reason why politics. There's all that corruption in politics. It's just greed and fear of not having enough. That there isn't enough out there for everyone. There's no need for us to be angry when somebody gets something good, because there is enough success out there for everybody to have it. And if everybody understood that, and it's 100% true, there's enough success out there. We don't have, it doesn't have to, you don't have to eat somebody to get where you want to be. But is that mentality of deprivation, or like, I'm not gonna, if you get it, I'm gonna be deprived of something.
Hating.
Yes,
Hating,
yes, and you know,
a lot of hating going
especially
on,
especially in the
definitely.
rap community.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of built on that.
Yeah.
And it was, what's so sad is it was kind of what Biggie and Tupac were really trying to combat. They were really, but the people around them in their ears, and just really were manipulating also the other people around them. So even when they were coming together and really getting along, if you watch those videos, I think we watched some of them rapping together. I mean, they were close. They had no issues with each other, but it was the, you know, he said, she said telephone bullshit that really ignited that whole feud. Can we talk about the lottery? What would you do?
So, okay. So, yeah, 1.6 billion. Well, what I do with 1.6 billion,
You get the money dropped into your account.
right?
What does that even look like? Is it gold bars in a safe?
See a whole bunch of zeros.
How do they give you that shit? They just drop it into your like Chase bank account?
Yeah.
Do they go into the checking?
No, certain banks, they don't allow that much in there, so it have to be separate banks, I think.
Yeah, like what you have to open up
banks. And yeah,
you got to get an overseas account.
I would do that anyway.
Overseas?
I got major power now.
Get a bank account in Switzerland.
Oh, yeah, all that.
Start doing that.
You know, getting power and
Would you buy a jet?
well, I wouldn't need a jet. Yeah, probably not yet. That would be the first thing.
I feel like people always die on those.
Definitely real estate. A lot of real estate. I would buy like a block and move all like family if they want to move there. It's like a whole
Oh, that's
you
dope.
know what I mean? Like a whole block. I always want to do that. Have a little fort, then I can lock it down. Have a fence around it. COVID happened again. It's all good. We're like locked in.
What about an island?
Yeah. Probably the maintenance. I would think about it. Maintenance costs. If I could make money while running an island, I wouldn't do shit where I'm not making money back.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta like put that in the factor that in. But yeah,
it is kind of crazy.
I would do all that. Get some just security first. Make sure insurance and all that. If I die and all that. Is taken care of.
Yeah, create a trust.
I won't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody if I made a.
Would people find out? Like, how could people ever find out if you didn't leak your name?
Well, then, yeah, you can. Oh,
like your family. Like, let's say if you didn't tell anybody, because couldn't you just like give money slowly and not tell anybody? You know, a few thousand here and there. As opposed to like telling people you won the lottery. They might just think you're doing well.
True. I thought about that. I thought about just playing it off, acting like I just started a business and it just got real good.
Right.
You know, and it made me feel good. People look at me different too or whatever. Like, oh, you just won all this money. No, I earned it. I could say that. Whatever. But I think my flamboyantness couldn't hide it.
Oh man!
I don't know. I would have like the best car you could possibly imagine, and you know, it would just be like I would, trips every weekend. You know,
what are the cars that now like the DeLorean open like that? Because that is dope.
There's a whole bunch of cars that do that now.
Although it's so unfunctional. Like if you're at a parking, how do you get out of a parking space that's tight?
Well, they do it. They go up
and
then out. So they'll go up past the car, they go swing out. A lot of cars do it now. So it's
because there were some that just opened like this, right? And it's like any parking spot in LA.
I don't know. I would have to rethink everything. You know, I just want to live like this life traveling. I just want to. I would have to. Get my kids in the best school. Take care of that part.
Yeah, easy.
Oh,
You're like,
yeah.
did you hear about the lottery? Cause
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
Monopoly. If you think about the game of Monopoly, it really teaches you how to live life, or how to beat the game, right? It's all about property
Yeah, real
and
estate.
staying out of jail.
Right? I know, right?
Property
That's
is
crazy.
staying out of jail.
I remember I was talking to you about that guy Andrew Tate. He's like a
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So did you see the interview with Piers Morgan?
No.
Okay.
Is this recent?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just watch this. I want to see what you think about it.
Okay.
Wouldn't
Young
have to.
men, should young men, though, all aspire to be like you?
Should young men aspire to work very hard, have no criminal record, become multimillionaires, protect and provide for the women close to them, be sovereign so they can stand up and have their own points of view in face of cancellation, be able to not be mentally intimidated when they go on national TV and there's traps set up for them? Yeah, I believe that confident, strong men who stand up and protect and provide for women are a good thing for the world and a good force for the world. I'm certainly not the worst influence out here, Piers. You have Lil Nas twerking on the devil on music videos, which our children are digesting. You have drill artists singing about stabbing people to death in the middle of a knife crime epidemic. I'm not the devil. There are certainly worse people than me. And
I don't disagree
and they exist.
with that.
And I'm saying that my core tenets for the people who don't understand me are self-accountability, so I'm accountable for everything I've ever said. My core tenets are responsibility, so I'm responsible for everything I've said. My core tenets are traditional masculinity to a degree, which involves protecting and providing for women.
So this is right on the verge of him getting canceled, right? For saying some misogynistic things. He became sort of a target for the
What's big
feminism or
entertainment now.
whatever.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people just don't understand that there's nuance to everything, and that when somebody says something, it's
It could mean
yeah, they take
pieces,
they take the core tenets of
Yeah.
what they think that person
Exactly.
is meaning,
Exactly.
as opposed to what the words say, and then they spin it, which is
Exactly.
crazy.
Watch the next one. Watch the,
Because I
okay, watch
100%, I pretty much agree with everything he's just said so
the-
far.
Exactly. Okay. Watch the next. So you probably be one of the women then, maybe.
What? That would stand up for him?
Yeah.
I'm not going out on a limb for this guy.
If you watch them, you know,
But-
watch them. So,
But what I mean, I'll always stand up for what I feel and what my value, like what I believe. And there are, you know what, there was like a TikTok or something of a woman. There's two young girls, they're probably like 26, and one of the girls in the car looks over to the other girl and she's like, "Hey, Sally." Basically, they were like, or it was like, "What do you do to have such a nice ring and not have to work all day?" That's what she said to her. "What do you do to not have to work?" And she's like, "I love my husband and I take care of him," and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, that poor girl gets all this pushback of how she's bringing down women and blah, blah, just stupid stuff. And it's like, she's allowed to live however the hell she wants. But if you feel like you need to go work and slave every day and have some sort of a corporate job and make your own way, awesome. You do you.
Yeah.
But don't piss on somebody else who wants to live a different way.
This guy, Piers Morgan. So I guess we're on the same page or whatever. But what do you think this guy's thinking? Look how this is why
Piers Morgan?
I was into this interview.
I'm wondering
So,
why
like,
Piers Morgan even had him on. He's
what I'm
looking.
saying.
Yeah, well,
it's
I think
crazy.
he's dying
It's
for
nice.
topics. So
Yeah.
he got canceled a whole bunch of times.
But there was also, I think, quite a disturbing piece that BuzzFeed did. And it talked about the negative impact of young, impressionable male minds when they've read or seen some of the more inflammatory things you've said. And they quoted, for example, Sandy, 22, from Washington. "My father's gone from a man who minored in women's studies in college, who was kind and in touch with his emotions, treated all people, men and women around him, with kindness, to a man who says that whenever he sees an effeminate male stranger, he gets an overwhelming urge to murder them. He loves podcasts. He listens to a lot of podcasts. I know he's listened to Andrew Tate."
Whoa. Let's stop for a second. Let's be professional here, Piers, because you're a professional, as am
Yeah.
I. First, she said, did you say that my father went? She said, my father has
Her
gone.
father.
That's a full-grown man, firstly. So we're talking about my impact on children. You just talked about a full-grown man here. Secondly, I've never talked about murdering effeminate men in anything online ever, in any context ever. So I don't know why they have taken some random person I've never met in the world who's full-grown, an adult, and come to their own conclusions who I've never met and lumped his name in with mine. That is absolutely unfair on every level. I didn't read this
What is your
BuzzFeed.
view?
I didn't read this BuzzFeed article, but after hearing the first point, I know it's trash.
Okay. So you kind of get it. So my point with this whole thing is, what are they doing in the media now? Like anything you say, and it's like big.
They're trying to get clicks. It's all about clicks, and it's not, and it's so unhealthy, and it's not about stimulating discussion. It's about writing an article that's going to get clicks, and then you're going to promote your career, right? I learned like a while ago that this was the path we were going down. People don't investigate where they get their information from. They don't even look at what the website's called that they're reading this bullshit from. They just go off of whatever is on their Instagram feed and the links that are in their bios, right? The accounts that they're following on Instagram, they click the bios and whatever those articles say is fact.
Cancel culture. How about this whole, I don't know if you know about the Kyrie Irving thing.
I don't. I saw
Okay. So same thing as Kanye West, anti-Semitic.
What did he say though?
He supported this movie about Negroes to Jews or Jews to something where they call it anti-Semitic. I'm not a professional on it, so I could say something right now that be like, I'm anti-Semitic, but I have no idea what the even anti-Semitic kind of means. I don't know the whole thing. I kind of know like the black Israelites. You was in New York, right? So you seen them. So a lot of what they preach is preaching something different than regular.
You mean like
Jew.
the Islamic is
thing.
the something of Islam? What is it?
Yeah.
That those guys? What are they called? The
Black Israelites.
But it's all men. It's like a very
Black.
strong.
They're black.
It's very misogynistic culture. Something of Islam. What is it?
All Islam.
Oh God, I have to.
All Middle Eastern. Well, okay, so basically he played a movie that he liked and he like supported. Basically, it's been some people always say
Nation of
like
Islam,
Nation of Islam, Farrakhan.
Yeah.
I actually want to do that, and that's another segment I want to do with you.
I don't know now.
Woo!
Yeah.
So I want to play you a segment on Farrakhan and let you
is he
talk
like Malcolm
about
X kind of?
Yeah, so that's a lot of people say he killed Malcolm X in a way, but the whole thing is his preaching is very toward he been saying like Jews running stuff and they shut you down with an instant, so he'll jump in and say he's always been saying that. A lot of people say it, so you got Kanye West and Kyrie Irving kind of jumping on board, but also you had these people that like Nazis or whatever that like want to kill the Jews. So when if it excites them, it's like you got to shut that talk down. That's what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting on everything. So
It should never be one against the other. There's enough success to go around, right?
Bro, what do you mean?
So it sounds like the whole idea is like we should take over, just as when the Jews, got out of their huge oppression, right? Like when they
take over,
they all came together and they took over the entertainment industry. They took over. So I'm only projecting because I have no idea.
Okay, so let me throw this in there and see what you think about this, right? Okay, so this is the impression I'm getting when you talk about Kanye, and now you have all these TikTok videos. It brought this conversation to the forefront. We had people talking about this for decades. There's Jewish people that run the entertainment industry.
Sure.
They like on the top, right?
Mm.
So when you say they run the rap industry and you're letting gangster rap and negative rap come out, right? But when you say something about Jewish people, whatever, they shut you down real quick. So the argument is, why are they so freely letting this negative stuff come out with certain groups, but when it comes to them, they shut you down on any type of negative talk. And that's what black people are saying, or people like Kanye, whatever, are saying, like, these are the people that's oppressing us because they're the ones in power. and they will shut you down if you say anything about them. Now, Farrakhan, we go on to that, which is the Nation of Islam. He's the leader, been there for a minute. He got major power and voice and everything, and he was saying stuff like this all the time about Jews, how they run stuff and all the time. Now, I guess they would call this anti-Semitic. This definition to me, I'm not educated totally on what that means. I'm not Jewish, but I just know it from a different point of view. So I don't know. This is what's going on right now, and it's interesting they bringing up the topic to see if there's going to be some kind of like, okay, are we going to change what you're going to put out in the black community if you're running the shit, you know? And I want to see how this plays out, because it can make a change just by bringing this shit up. I'm like, okay, well, you're going to get on us about anti-Semitic, we're gonna get on you about putting bad shit out, and then if they stop like bad negative music or negative movies, everything, they're controlling the entertainment industry, what's gonna happen? Because it's, I'm kind of a believer what you see is what you get. So I don't know what you think.
You don't see, so if it was like a Jewish rap group saying negative things against the black community.
Oh, no, about themselves.
I know.
Jews against Jews. Like black people say it about against.
I know.
Okay, so.
And they're not rapping about it, they're saying it. So I have a few points on this. If it was, and I know it's not, if it was Jewish producers promoting Jewish rappers saying negative things about the black community, that's one thing. Because that's basically essentially what you're saying. Or no. If it was a Jewish rap group going on TV and then talking about the black community and how the black community is oppressing people, or how the black community is taken over, that is literally the parallel other side. So what I'm saying is, just because the Jewish, let's say, and I honestly don't know that there is a predominant Jewish owned rap.
Okay.
Jewish people own rap.
No, yeah.
Okay, so
no, I'm saying
now, I have to finish that. So let me just finish this thought. Jewish people owning rap, they're supporting whatever the artists want to sing and whatever the populace, the citizens want to listen to. So they're not telling them to rap about these things. That's what their art is, and they're not stopping them from talking about their art.
They wouldn't get paid.
And usually their art is about their lived experience, right? Hopefully, if we knew that a rapper came out, like if 50 Cent wasn't shot 9 times, but he was rapping about it, we'd say you're a fake and a phony, and we'd probably not listen to you anymore. So the whole thing about rap is about sharing your life experience and your struggle. So in my eyes, if it is that producers are predominantly Jewish, they're just helping rappers sing their song, right? And there's a difference between singing it in your art and talking about it on TV as well. So Kanye's going out now as a spokesperson, as a brand in his own who has influence, and doing these interviews. He's not putting it into art. I think there'd probably be issues with that too but if he rapped about how his community needs to come together like the Jewish people, or needs to, if he put that in a lyric, he'd probably get away with it, because he'd probably be more artful about it than him going on in Piers Morgan and saying some dumb stuff, things that are taken out of context, or just like he does titillating, or like he likes to incite ideas, right? He purposely leaves it to interpretation sometimes. So I do think that there's a difference between being a spokesperson and talking, as opposed to putting it in your art and it being art. And then we can judge the art, and we can say whether or not we like the art or not, right? So because that's what they're doing. They're basically just, if they happen to be producers, the Black community, there's producers in the Black community that are very successful. And there's big ones. Like, what about what's his name? The biggest one, mogul, Reverend Run's brother, Simmons, Russell Simmons, or Russell Simmons.
Yeah, he's not a rapper, but
He's a producer. He's like, he owns, everything, right? He has credit cards and shit. He owns money, like currency.
On Def Jam, yeah.
Yeah. So he's, he's one of the big ones,
But
and I guess there are other ones.
Guess what?
Too.
Jewish people brought him on.
Own him? Oh yeah.
All the rap groups, NWA. I just watched this thing with Wu-Tang Clan, which I love. That it's a dope series. But the Jewish people got them on. But
it's not them.
I
If anybody comes out rapping about not something negative, they promote that too, as long as it's good. It's about whatever's popular. Yeah.
Right. But so this is the point. When it's about other things, it's about accountability. If you're making this negative stuff, are you letting it go? You should be accountable for what you're a producer too. That's kind of throwing flame on the fire. I understand there's bad things that are going on through certain communities and all that, but you're throwing negative influence with rap music. It's not a people act like that's not a real thing. It's definitely influencing people. Like anything, movies influence you, music influence you, all that shit influence you. So now that we're bringing this up, this is going to be a new Me Too movement. I think it should be a Me Too movement a little bit on that. At the same time, I can sit back and say, okay, what are we going to rap about? Or what, you know what I mean? Like, or what's the negative influence are you going to put out? Because you could still put positive stuff with rap.
Well, Drake doesn't really have anything negative.
Exactly.
It's about him and his boys and loyalty and his hustle and right.
Exactly. Yeah. Drake is the one that's like really you can't be like, oh, he's negative. You know what I'm saying? He's so positive.
It's still like.
But I think overall, I think it was the timing for everything. Like I can't be like, oh, I wish Ice Cube and NWA didn't exist. Like I love that whole scenario, and I think it was the timing for it.
Yeah.
I think it's now time to change that scenario around. Be like, okay, we know what the hood is about. Now we're gonna change it with rap, or with the influence of entertainment. So that's what I think about that situation. But you have to be accountable for the people that's throwing it out there. That's controlling this stuff.
So you think when MWA was coming up and they were a rap group, there was maybe some other parallel group that was saying positive things that was just as talented?
No. Yeah.
No.
Oh, guaranteed.
That was just as talented, but like
real rap.
But saying like, let's all come together and make it out of here.
You didn't listen to rap.
And they chose NWA to promote. So they're choosing who to push forward.
So you didn't see if you was grew up in the rap culture, you would see the evolution of it. That's all it was about.
I mean, we kind of
when it first came out, it was so positive. It was so different. And once they started gangster, it was like, ooh, money. Because people want it, just like you watch horror movies, people like the horror shit.
Was it the fans that did that, or was it the producers though? Maybe they were throwing everybody out there and seeing what stuff.
No, they rapped about it, and it was a call for it, right?
Right. So I think it was the fans that really decided, because it's about album purchases at that time too. So really, it's not, they're not going to shit away money. They're not going to turn away from money. They're not going to say, oh no, not this group because they're selling so many more. They know what people want. It's about
if it was Jewish people, what would they do? That's what the whole point is about.
Put them back in the synagogue and they'd have a full, closed door session about what we should do with our people.
They're not going to let it go that way. If black people had control of their environment, they'd be like, these gangster rap, no, you're not going to do this. Most black people, they like, hell no. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a weird, it's a psychology of everything. Like I said, I love all rap that came out. I was born on it, but I do understand there's a time for change, and if you really look at it, they have to be called too, like the Me Too people, like people that did shit back in the days and they didn't know it was wrong. Now it's wrong. So you guys push this shit. You guys push this gangster rap shit. So just take accountability for it. That's what I'm saying.
I just don't know that they pushed it.
All the producers. Look,
because money was behind it, because the fans loved it, because people were buying albums.
So that's a whole scary thing.
Because people were buying albums.
I know, but that's a scary thing if you say they're just all Jewish, or you're saying Jewish people understand black people, so they're gonna push the gangster rap.
No, the fans understand it. The people that they're speaking to, and money talks. So money is the indicator that it's successful. And just like you said, it was a movement. It was a time period where people were really sick of it. There was the riots. There was the Watts riots. There was a lot of things leading up to it too. That just it was like, people need to hear this. People needed, I don't know that they needed, but I mean, I loved listening to it. It was cathartic in a way.
Right. So I'm just saying, I understand Jewish people wasn't sinister in doing it.
Right.
But I'm saying they did do it. So we talk about this whole accountability and these people that did shit back in the days. We have to say, hey, you guys did kind of push this shit. You guys probably should try to correct it too, because you can.
Push is a hard word for me to.
No, it's like pushing the albums.
But if they took both of those groups and one took off because fans bought albums and one just didn't, then it's like, did they push it, or did they throw everything out into the ether and see what got picked up?
Okay, you still got to take accountability. What
they made money off of it.
Listen,
they made money off of it. I think that's what you could say. To say push it, I don't know. Maybe they did though. Maybe
dealers make money and they kill people, right?
Don't what?
Dope dealers that sell meth, they make money. Yeah, and they're killing people. Okay, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Well, that's all I'm saying. So I'm saying that this accountability issue still. Yeah. Even if they said they're doing it for the money, now we see the product. Now you have to say, let's take accountability, like Me Too and all these organizations. Why are we doing it to rap? Rap is like left out there like, keep killing yourself, keep talking negative. We already learned kind of like the fire on the flame. The fire starts, but you don't have to keep the flame going with negative stuff. And we could talk about that with women too. We're not just talking about gangster kill people. We're talking about the subject of young women acting in a certain manner. Now, it could be fun and games until it's not. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm not saying you're wrong. I think that's, I mean, this argument, this is like a thesis that someone needs to take on, because it's so much harder to prove that ideas are just as dangerous as pills, right? Like, let's say Purdue Pharma, right? They pushed those pills and they knew that they could kill people. But you're saying these words can really have this decline of an entire race, of an entire.
I would say it throws flames on the fire, because I told you from bad environments you have bad energy.
Yeah, but how do you?
You know what I mean? So I'm just saying
you just have to look at crime
you can look at that when it, law.
Yeah, when that
if you say it's positive law, and that's going to influence that community. Let's just have positive law now. We know what it does.
What's positive law?
Law, pretty much. So you have a law that says it's going to produce a positive environment. So whatever it is.
Yeah, for the safety of the community. That's the laws.
We don't realize some of this shit is like ridiculous to give the freedom to. I don't know.
It's not
I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm not totally sure we should go that route. But
maybe it's not about the sentiment of like, take back your power. Almost like that Black Panther, because NWA sort of had that Black Panther mentality of like, stand up for your rights, kind of like, don't let them push you over. Don't let them take down, right?
That's not what I'm talking about.
As opposed to the guns themselves. So it's really about more control over the weapons that we have. It sort of just comes back to that argument.
Okay. So I guess that's. So what I'm saying, it may
more
sound
about
different.
The means as to the.
It's more about the mentality, the mentality you have, and when you see the results of it. So you have the stand up for your rights. It's not that the gangsters, NWA didn't start that. Like, it was Gandhi, Martin Luther King, all that. So that's all been that. When you talk about NWA, it stands up your right too against police brutality, but also it bred
Aggression.
Gangster is being how you do it. It was not being just like a regular man and
Like Black Panther style, like fight.
yeah, and even that I would advance it to that, and that could have been better. I feel like, you know, there's different ways you can do it where we can improve to really do it in a way where people gonna understand and respect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it. When I talk about, okay, NWA was like the inventors of gangster music. Now what we have is like negative memes. Like it's very catchy, where you can see the results of young people catching on to it. I was young, and I know the influence I had. Some was good, some was bad, but I can see that it's like advertisement. They pay millions of dollars for advertisement on TV, right? Why do they do that? Because it works. You know what I'm saying? Billboards work. They pay money for that. So it's not going to catch everybody.
Right.
It's going to catch somebody. And I'm just saying that the advertisement you do makes sense. Now, we're going back to what we're talking about. I'm not anti-Semitic, but we're talking about what people are talking about. People running the industry may be Jewish. They need to take accountability of that
The effects.
to change
The
it
effects.
now.
Yeah,
They can change it now if they want to. So I don't know. I don't want to get too caught up on that. I don't want to be the target of cancel, even though I'm not
It's
even.
also
I didn't
like-
make it yet.
so-
Let me make it first, and then I'll take it cancel. The point is like you have to take accountability if you're running these things.
Right.
To say is it or not. Now, this is what I always preach before. Like, we're in America. America is supposed to be the freest place on earth. So maybe there's a price for freedom. There's a price you pay for freedom, and the freedom is to play these games, listen to this music, and so on and so on. And I do understand that point. But
consumption, you have to be responsible for the effects of the things you consume.
Well,
because the companies are not. It's due and ask questions later.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's money motivated, and I understand. We're watching movies all day. It's horror. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be one crazy person that's like trying to do that, or even kids growing up desensitized to it. So to kill somebody is nothing. That's like one of the studies they say all the time too. But it's just like the same thing with any other entertainment that you can think of. It's all feeding into these emotions we have from evolution and whatnot. I looked that up one time. Like, why do we want to watch horror movies?
Survival. Well, for me, it's survival. I love seeing what should I do? I just always equate it to me.
Yeah. So I looked it up. It was like an evolutionary thing where we were all tribal people. So when the other people come and fucking rape and murder the village, that shit's carved in the DNA to react to that. You know.
Oh, it's stimulating.
So that's why we're still watching that, because it's like, oh, something's happened. I got to be on point, and that's the biggest, thing that we see, and it's like programmed to this. I don't know. That was
it's in our history too, though.
Yeah.
You turn on anything about Egypt or Greek, Greek story
Crazy
of any
stuff.
civilization,
fight or flight.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start thinking about it in every aspect, and we're thinking about it with like.
If we wanted to make a better society, right? If we had good intentions, if everybody and the people with the most money truly had the best intentions on how to create a better society. That's what that what was it called? The one about the social media, and it was a documentary all about like social media and how it really does manipulate you and how it really does follow you, and it shows you your ex-boyfriends and it makes you want to click on them because that's engagement and all that shit.
Oh,
it just
we're a whole different being right now.
God, what was it called? But it's about getting you to buy into things, and no matter at what extent.
Yeah.
So if people had good intentions, we could maybe even start to think about a path to this. But we have to first establish, and what we'd have to do is put it into law somehow, and we'd have to be able to track it, it's just. I was also just thinking, all of these things, all this technology is so new. It's so new. It's just started within the last 100 years that we've even had lights, right? Or 200, maybe 150 years that we've had electricity. So all of these things are stimulations that are just being thrown out into society as these curveballs. And nobody's thinking about, and when people are trying to comment on the repercussions that could possibly have potential, they can't even fathom down the road. What you're thinking of is so but beyond anybody's thought process when they're creating a new invention and when they're throwing things out into our society, right? When the internet was made. With music, they're just not even taking that on. They're taking on money, bottom line, gross. So it's like, it is the next step, though. I think it's something we have to do. We have to, if we want to start creating. It's the most important step to creating a more thriving society is our minds.
That's
right?
where we're going. It looks like
our
we just
mental
gotta,
health and how
spread it around.
How do we help? Facilitate a more positive mental health for our children down the road.
Yeah, it's a lot too. Technology is crazy.
Companies should have to take that into consideration. What are the effects? Right up, when you're getting things approved, what are the potential effects, negative effects of your creation, of your invention, and how are you going to combat that and be responsible? There should be some sort of accountability there prior now, because we know that these certain things happen, especially
and like I said, I agree with you. Like, they were trying to make money. I also think that even the Jewish people were like more accepting to new ideas, and they were like trying to put black people on in those areas. So I don't even look at it negative for that. Just to clear it up, like, I just feel like that's what happened.
That's where we are now.
So now we have to, just like, all these, all this Me Too, whatever. I keep saying Me Too, but all these woke movements and stuff.
All Kanye had to do is say the owners of the record companies. He didn't even have to say Jewish people. If they happen to be Jewish people, then that is insinuated. Then that is just
bam.
You got it. Yeah,
okay.
he should have just said. I
agree with you.
He should have said everybody that owns all the record labels and controls the way of music and controls. He threw the and if they happen to be Jewish, they happen to be Jewish.
All right, Jewish culture, that's true. Bam. That's what I think.
He didn't have to bring in.
Just stop bringing it, make it so personal to the race.
Make it more.
We're all the same race.
Yeah, just keep it general. Everybody who owns it, and you know who you are.
Right.
You don't have to be like they're all Jewish.
On it. Exactly. Yeah. Bam. Hell yeah. So Thanksgiving's coming up. Are you ready to eat or what?
No.
It's right across this today. Did you know that turkeys were fucking gods?
In what culture? What are you talking about? In real life, they're gods.
In 300
We're
BC.
eating Zeus.
Yeah. Let me put it right. In 300 BC, the birds were used by the Maya. The Mayas?
Oh, the Mayans?
It says by the Maya. I don't know if that was the same thing. M-A-Y-A. Yeah, those Mayans? Okay.
Maya, yeah.
As vessels of the gods and honored accordingly. In fact, the birds were originally domesticated to play a part in the religious rites. Prized players in the Maya religion and culture, they were once coveted symbols of power and prestige.
So Isn't
that crazy? Right. Now, and we're kicking all the motherfuckers up now.
Turkeys were like, when did this shit switch? Like, ain't this a bitch? We used to be...
We're eating fucking gods.
Yeah, we used to be praised, and now all of a sudden we're hunted.
That's crazy. We're doomed.
It's such a weird thing to choose too. Why a turkey? They must have been rare.
They are pretty animals. Look at this shit.
Oh, are they like peacocks?
Look
Yeah.
at it's fucking beautiful, dude. Look at,
This is like the most beautiful one. This is the Instagram model of all the turkeys.
and they're fucking
I
delicious.
have never seen a turkey that pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, blue head.
Hey,
like a sunset on its wings.
my grandma had a farm, and she cut the turkey's head off right in front of me, and the motherfucker ran around without the head.
Dude,
That's a guy within
I would've
itself.
been traumatized. You got some deep rooted trauma from that shit. I'll tell you that.
No, it was interesting. I'm like, yeah, that's some real shit. I'm sure, like, if you live in the South, you've seen all kind of.
Yeah, but she didn't give you a speech about it. She just did it, right?
She was like, watch this. Watch this.
You have no idea what she's getting. You're all.
I'm like, okay, am I supposed to like it? I don't know. But I'm sure if I was around that shit, I'm like, yeah. It's like people that are raised slaughtering cows. We eat
I
fucking
know.
meat.
Yeah.
We're just domesticated so much we don't even know that shit's going on.
I know, it's awful. We're so removed from it. We're like, oh, boo, but give me that hamburger.
Right. But yeah. Well,
Shit.
yeah. But that's good. I think that's can wrap it up for the Midway Rabbit Hole. Huh?
Yeah.
You think we're good? Yeah, we're there.
Thanks for playing.
Hey. Good night, everybody.